There you go.
All right. Well, thank you so much for everybody joining. We are going to be kicking off our 2022 series basically right now. And we have brought on some wonderful, amazing people. We're going to have some announcements after this with trainings and all of these things. As you can hear, the cool kids are all in Puerto Rico. We just got back from a mastermind where Michael Reese just literally pile drove, 12-hour days full of amazing fire content. As we're going to take that and just kind of share, because we'd like to get all of the amazing nuggets and share it with you guys. So there's going to be a lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline. And in the spirit of collaborating with amazing people, we had amazing Sheila FEJERAN here and Kevin Cottrell, amazing people. So no, they're not new to the collab. They're on a whole different plane of existence. Just a brief intro. So Sheila actually is an amazing public speaker. I've heard her keynote at a couple different conferences and just brings fire in a positive, godly way to really touch you and motivate you in a very unique, different way. But she's a closer. So you guys all know the one and only Brent Gove, and you guys have people that I know every single one of you is like, God, I would love to bring that person on. Pick up the phone and call them. And Sheila did just that and literally talked to Brent Gove and brought it and has built one of the biggest EXP organizations, I think, in existence, which is not everything, but it's at least probably half of what you should be doing. And I'll tell you what, when you actually look at ROI and net residual income, there's an amazing opportunity with EXP if you have done right. But I've had some great conversations. EXP agents are also taking this on another level. So there are EXP agents, selling 500, 600 million a year and just crushing it. So sales first organization, but if done right, it can create a beautiful world. So without further ado, introduce Sheila here. She joined EXP, ran personally selling 100 homes a year, eventually moved into the full-time focus on agent attraction, supporting her rev share team, which includes our favorite superstar, Brent Gove, which you already talked about. She has been at EXP for 5.5 years and has over 14,000 agents in over 20 countries, which has placed her as one of the top real estate organizations in the world. So it takes a certain type of person to do that, manage it, lead it, build the culture around it to where people come and stay. And then once she really concreted that in, she has shifted into the crypto space about 1.5 years ago, which is why we have her here. So the world is changing, technology is changing, obviously cryptocurrency. And by the way, if Dustin Brome messaged you about cryptocurrency, it's not real, just to put that out there. Call him or direct him. But crypto is changing the way that money is being transferred. And Sheila's going to go into detail on that with Kevin, again, her business partner. So Sheila, if you can give yourself a smidge intro, introduce Kevin, and we want to hear about what you guys are doing.
Sure. Thank you so much. I was so excited to meet you at the conference with Michael and get a chance to tell you a little bit about what we're creating. My business partner in this is Kevin Cottrell. For those of you who probably also know Gene Frederick or know the name, he is Gene's business partner. And Kevin is brilliant, been in the business many, many years, and started originally. The interesting thing for Kevin is he started originally in Silicon Valley when it was Web 0.1. And so Kevin literally was selling the internet to Google and Yahoo. So when you talk about somebody who is at the very beginning, who really understands technology at a very high level, that is why I partnered with Kevin in this. And also he's been on the commercial side for a lot of years. He was a team leader running the office with Gene down in Austin, Gary Keller's office. So just incredible real estate knowledge as well. And I'm super excited to partner with him on this next venture. And to get started with helping you understand why this is so important for you, I want to tell you a little story. And so in Miami, we had a friend of ours that was sitting down at a restaurant, and he has partnered with Kevin and I in this venture in the crypto space. And so he was discussing it with another couple, kind of talking to them about selling homes with digital assets and NFTs and crypto and things like that. And somebody 2 tables over got up and walked over to them and said, hey, I'm really sorry to interrupt you, but I heard you guys talking about cryptocurrency and homes. Do you guys happen to know how to sell homes with cryptocurrency? And our friends were like, well, yeah, that's what we're talking about. We're rolling a whole program out on that. And he's like, oh my gosh, I've been talking to a bunch of different agents and no one knows how to do this. Could you guys help me? And they're like, yeah, we'd love to help you. Absolutely. He said, great. He said, I'm looking for a waterfront property in Miami and my budget's $25 million. So my question for you today is, if someone came and asked you at the table if you could sell a home with digital assets and they're looking to buy something for $25 million, who on here would be able to do that today? Exactly. That's why we're talking. So the thing I want you to understand is this topic is crucial for you to learn. It's crucial because the wave of the future is cryptocurrency, selling homes, and Kevin and I are going to deep dive in this for you to help you understand what we're doing at a national level with NAR. But it's really important for you to understand this because of what's coming in the future. And so let me kind of frame this for you. The number one asset class in the world is housing. Within that asset class, American housing is number one. Housing affects everything. It affects our stock market. It affects our economy. It affects ancillary services. Lots and lots of companies are affected by housing, right? We all understand that because we've seen the way the market's moved. But the thing you may not know is that Teresa, our friend at NAR, who's the expert at blockchain, we're working with to roll all of this out, she said, do you guys realize that conservatively, within the next 5 years, half of the homes in America will be sold with digital assets? Half. Within the next 10 years, 100% of homes in America will be sold with digital assets. So why is this important to you sitting on this call today? It's because if you don't learn how to do this, you're not going to be able to continue having a livelihood in real estate if you don't know how to sell houses doing this. That's just the reality of what's coming. That's why it's so important. So not only do you want the person to approach you and buy a $25 million house from you, but you actually just want to be able to keep your job, right? You just want to be able to sell homes. And the reality is in the world right now, only about 4% of the world is involved in digital assets. So it's a very small percentage of people who understand this or who are really involved in this at a high level. So Kevin and I have committed to be at the forefront of this, not only for EXP, but for our industry. And we want to bring this technology and this information to you guys to help you get up to speed, know what you're talking about, do everything correctly so you don't get sued or lose your licenses and you're following the SEC and FTC guidelines as you're doing it. So that's why this is so important for you to understand. Now, with that said, because the number one thing Kevin and I care about is your education. That's number one above everything else. If you don't know what you're doing, you can't do your job. That's just it. But I do want to let you know that Kevin and I are very, very deeply involved in the crypto industry. So we will also be teaching classes for you guys that participate with us. I have 2 other guys that are professional traders in the crypto market that are going to be teaching you if you want to learn how to buy crypto or learn how to trade crypto. We don't want you to think that it's just about doing your job as a real estate agent. That's the number one thing, because you have to just keep your livelihood. But we also want you to know that we care a lot about helping you build wealth, which is the thing that came for me through EXP with Brent. And what I've been able to do through that experience is understand, as a functioning agent, I was a single mom, and just really, it changed my life. It changed my kids' life. It changed everybody's lives that I've touched because of the opportunity to have something that you could have never had before. So it really is so much more than just this one thing. And we want you guys to know that we're committed to you. We'll show you a Facebook group and platforms that we're building for you guys to log into, have access to, and be able to learn, as well as get the mentoring and coaching to help you grow in your knowledge in this area. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to share my screen with you. In this slide deck, if you don't mind, do I have control? Yes, thank you. Okay, this slide deck, the first one that we're going to share with you is a portion of the slide deck from our friend Teresa Grobecker, who is the expert that I was referring to with NAR. Teresa has been charged from NAR to be the one that oversees the real estate, mortgage, and title release of blockchain to the entire industry. She's also working directly with Fannie Mae and other mortgage entities. She also has governments around the world calling her, asking her to come and set up blockchain in their country. So she's definitely a very key part of this whole concept of bringing blockchain to our industry. And Kevin and I are lucky enough to be in very close relationship with her and working with her. And she graciously shared some of these slides with us to say, hey, you guys need to use some of these to tell people what we're doing so that you can help them understand how important this is for them to know. So I'm going to hand it over to Kevin, let him deep dive on these slides, and then I'll be back in a second.
Perfect. Thanks, Sheila. So a couple things here. One, I want to be realistic with you. When Gene and a couple of board members asked me to dive into the convergence of real estate, blockchain, and digital assets, even though I was involved in the Internet 1.0, I really felt like I was overwhelmed. There was a lot of learning. It was almost like learning Mandarin Chinese, and I didn't have a Berlitz instructor. And so we're going to talk to you today and go through this, but I want you to realize we've also identified an education platform. So as I'm going through this, don't let it all go over your head. Just get the concepts of what's happening in the real estate ecosystem, because as Sheila said, it's absolutely coming, and we'll talk about some of the timing. So most of you have heard about tokenized sales, right? You can't be on social media and have people talk about tokenizing real estate and all these things that everybody's talking about. So when I got into the real estate business, when I got out of college, I worked for Marcus & Millichap in their headquarters office in Palo Alto. My dad happened to be a CPA. He was involved in the syndication business. So when you're thinking about fractional ownership, this is exactly like syndication, where people used to buy apartment buildings, shopping centers. You get a group of investors together, and then they would register the security, and then they would go do an offering and then go buy property. The difference here is we're taking real estate and we're inserting a digital asset with a smart contract. You still have an entity, whether it's an LLC or another vehicle. And then there's typically, if it's an income property, there's going to be professional property management. So when you hear people say tokenization, it has to do with creating crypto and using certain assets that are digital to be able to do it. But the big takeaway I want you to get here is it's still a security. It's still regulated by the SEC, just like it was when I was involved in the 80s. And we were having the syndicators register their securities with the SEC. Now, why am I saying that? When Teresa and I went looking as part of my project to vet companies that are quote unquote tokenizing properties, we vetted 40 entities, and only one out of the 40 were actually doing it in a manner where their model actually was SEC compliant. So a lot of what you see out there right now is a blatant violation of the SEC regs. So the two takeaways are here. We've seen this before. This is the same type of model that syndicators use. And you're going to get the concepts quickly if you understand it in the framework of what we normally talk about with real estate. The next thing I want to jump into, you've seen the first sales with NFTs now. It doesn't matter if it's tokenized and it looks like a syndication. We still got the same thing. We've got an asset that could be a pool of Airbnbs that people want to do this with. They're using blockchain and crypto, again, digital assets. And you have to have, because you're creating a security, the SEC rules to be complied with. So it doesn't change it. So your takeaway here is, even if you go in the process and a homeowner comes to you and says, I want to offer my home for sale, I want to do it with an NFT, it's the same thing. We've got to be SEC compliant. So it doesn't change at all. I'm going to talk about the regulatory environment. Sheila mentioned if we step up and run afoul of the SEC, we've got big problems. I'm going to touch on that in a minute. But there is some good news. You know, we talked about Teresa working with Fannie Mae. So here's what's coming with blockchain as it relates to the mortgage industry. Everything is going to change, and it's going to provide some huge benefits. So Fannie Mae is basically going to allow for blockchain certified listing. They're calling it the SOC 2 protocol. Don't worry about what that means. They're rolling this out in beta, and they expect to have it widely available in the next 60 to 90 days. So what does this mean? If you have a blockchain enabled listing that meets the Fannie requirements, you have to do a 3D floor plan, think about Matterport or another tool like that, and you no longer have to do a field appraisal. They're going to use remote val or a desktop appraisal, and they believe that they're going to be able to fund things in 10 to 14 days, start to finish. If that's not going to revolutionize a set of listings versus the ones that are not on the blockchain, I can't think of anything that has been more disruptive to what's going on with the financing market. And again, this is coming in the next 60 to 90 days. Now let's talk about the regulatory environment. Most of the rules are from the 1930s. They were updated a couple of times. The Patriot Act and the Dodd-Frank Act came out when we had the 9/11, and then the Dodd-Frank was after the mortgage debacle in the late 2009 or 10 period. So what does that mean? Most of the rules don't apply to digital assets. You roll in, know your customer, and anti-money laundering, which is prevalent now. So if you do anything online now and they ask you for the front and back of your driver's license, that's the KYC anti-money laundering. That's the financial industry has already gone to that, especially if you touch it online. This is all coming to the real estate industry because we're inserting digital assets, which could imply fraud and money laundering if we don't identify the parties involved. So what happens if we run afoul of any of these rules? Here's the big stuff. The real estate brokerage can lose its license and be shut down. If you're a mortgage MLO or the entity, you can lose your licensing and be out of business. Any of the JVs or MSAs related to this can be canceled and shut down by the SEC. And the big one for the real estate industry is E&O coverage will not cover this if you're defrauding things based on SEC rules and the framework. There's an executive order out from the Biden administration. It came out a few weeks ago. It directed Treasury to release new regulations through their entities. One of their divisions is the SEC. So it's all coming here. So what we're aligning the industry for, and this is something that Sheila and Teresa and I are working on, is we know where we need to be. We may not have all of the stuff lined out from the SEC, but if we're compliant based on the framework that exists and we're treating them like securities, we can still operate and succeed. So if we jump to the next slide, here's the good news. It doesn't matter if it's the listing side or the buy side. We have a new player in here. Real estate brokerage and JV MSAs. You may have one of those 40 companies. Hopefully we're working with the one, which is what Sheila and Teresa and I are going to do, that is SEC compliant. And we have a broker dealer relationship. But again, it doesn't matter if you're tokenizing or you're using NFTs. It's got to be registered with the SEC or you're basically doing an unlicensed program. And here's the problem. You can receive your commissions. We're independent contractors. Some of the agents you know in the real estate industry, and this is why the whole industry needs to know this, their broker may have no idea they got in the middle of an NFT sale, right? There's still a real estate contract. There's other things that went on. And all of a sudden the SEC starts cracking down and the brokerage may get a cease and desist and then $100 million fine, or they could just get shut down. So this is the critical part about this. Now, the bottom line is, the good news is we're not going to get disintermediated out of the business. We're going to still be able to collect commissions. We're going to be able to represent a listing or a buyer. It's just going to require us to think about it differently. This is not meant to be a full-scale training. Between Teresa, Sheila, and I, we're going to roll out a whole set of modules and trainings. But how do you start from here? This is where Sheila's going to jump back in. Just like me, it's overwhelming. If you don't know what blockchain is, you don't know about digital assets, you don't know what the nomenclature is, not only are you going to not get that opportunity with the $25 million buyer in Miami, or somebody that says, I want to sell my house with an NFT, the market's going to move away from you. And so we believe we found sort of the best in breed education platform, and Sheila's going to run through that with you now.
Thank you, Kevin. So again, for us, it comes down, think about this. We all hear from coaches like Michael Reese and guys that train us, like Travis, is you have to constantly be learning, right? All of us who are in the industry understand you have to constantly be learning and evolving. As the industry changes, as the market changes, you have to learn. This is no different. You have to come at this saying, this is coming. I need to get ahead of it. What do I need to learn in order to be prepared for this? And that's what we're trying to bring to you now. So what we're going to show you is an educational platform, and it's going to have everything you need from, if you don't even know what in the world blockchain is, like if you've never even heard the word Bitcoin before, they will teach you everything from nuts to bolts, beginning to end, starter to advanced. What is blockchain? What is an NFT? what is cryptocurrency, what is DeFi. You're going to have a really amazing basic training course that you can go through. And then they have courses that you can go to get advanced training. And so this company is called I Am Academy. It was created by a guy named Christopher Terry. He originally started in the construction industry in New York City. Then he met his wife, Isis De La Torre. Isis was the CFO for the Federal Reserve of New York. And when they got married, Isis introduced Chris to a bunch of her friends on Wall Street who were stock traders. And Chris wound up becoming a Wall Street trader, super, super successful. That was back in the 80s. He was so successful, he made like $1 billion trading stock. And between them, because they don't have children, their hearts were, how can we give back? How can we leave a legacy? How can we help people learn what we've learned? And they created the first ever platform that is an online system to learn how to trade. So this is, again, an educational platform. The philosophy is learn and earn. It was originally created for the stock market, which falls under what they call the Forex category. Forex stands for foreign exchange. So in these series of classes, you can learn foreign exchange trading, stock trading. You can actually learn how to trade your EXP stock if you want to learn how to do that. The big thing I always encourage people to learn in this series of classes is what's called technical analysis. To be have a really good understanding of the digital asset and cryptocurrency class, you have to learn technical analysis. All of the very successful people in cryptocurrency know technical analysis at a very high level. So this would be something that you would want to be learning as you go through these classes. Then when cryptocurrency and digital assets came out, they created that whole series of classes that I was referring to make sure everyone knew what to do to learn about digital assets. Their classes they have classes online, pre-recorded. You can learn at your own pace. They have little modules you just go through one by one so that you can keep listening to it if you need to listen to it again to make sure you understand what they're saying. And then once you get through all the basic stuff, then you can move on to kind of the higher level. And they have go live sessions and it's live mentorship. So they have over 100 full-time traders that are teaching you in live. You can ask questions like, what does this mean? Or how would I do this? Or I don't understand what you're talking about here. So it's really nice for you to be able to engage with their people to understand what they're teaching you. And we are encouraging people to do a series in the go lives, and we'll show you that in a second, just because they have kind of the next step up of the crypto 101, NFT 101, metaverse 101. We just want to stair step you in your education to help you be prepared that if somebody happens to ask you, hey, can you help me sell a home with cryptocurrency? You'd be able to say, you know what, I can. And then come to us. It will plug you into Teresa and the systems Kevin and I are working on to help you be able to do that in the future. So just keep that in mind. The platform is all in-house. The thing I like about it, if any of you have been involved at all in cryptocurrency, most people, Kevin and I included, when we started a couple of years ago, we joked that we started with the YouTube guys. And we started watching all the YouTube. I have like 50 YouTube channels that I used to watch from all the different guys on there teaching stuff about cryptocurrency. But one of the things that I found over the course of time is that those guys, number one, aren't professional traders. They weren't trained by Wall Street or by, they're not under FTC or SEC regulatory commissions. So that's what I like about this platform. That's what Kevin and I feel good about, is because of Isis and Chris's background, we feel comfortable with you learning from them because it's professionals that are under the regulatory guidelines that we don't have to worry that they're saying the wrong thing to you. They have to be very careful with how they teach you. They also will not give you specific trading advice because they can't, because of the regulations. They'll share with you what they're doing and say, hey, here's some technical analysis on Bitcoin or on Ethereum. you might want to consider buying in these ranges because it looks like it's moving at this way. So they'll teach you, they'll give you the education, and they're also not an exchange. So you're not exchanging money with them, which is the other big thing to me, is that you're just getting the education. And if you want to be an investor, you would go to a KuCoin or a Gemini or a Coinbase or something to actually do your trade if you were actually exchanging cryptocurrency. So for us, like Kevin said, this was the best platform. It's the only international platform we found. They're in 144 countries. They have 16 different languages. They have 16 lawyers on staff. So as they're opening up new countries, they make sure they're doing it correctly and compliantly. So they are the best of the best that we found, because I've had so many people. I actually wrote classes. I was teaching classes to Gene Frederick and the people down here in Palmas, trying to help people learn how to do this. But there's just so much information involved. I'm like, holy mackerel, how in the world am I going to help everybody? So when we found this, we felt it was the best platform for you to get the education and then take your time to advance through each level, so that when you start having those conversations in your day job about cryptocurrency and about selling homes with digital assets, we want you to be prepared and we want you to be able to participate and do this. So the platform is broken down where you can buy a package by itself, or what we're actually encouraging people to do is get the elite, because it includes the digital currency one, which you have to go through. That's number one thing you got to go through. We want you to go through the 4X because we want you to start learning technical analysis, because I can tell you, if that guy from $25 million walked up to your table, he's going to want to know, you know what you're talking about. He's not going to want to work with an agent who doesn't understand. So we want you to understand. No different than in the real estate industry, we teach you how to sell more homes. We teach you how to market yourself. We teach you how to be a better agent. This is the same thing. We're now going to teach you how to sell homes with digital currency. So the packages, though, the nice thing is it's $325 to get signed up, then $275 a month. But they have a package where if you invite 2 other friends that are paying customers, your monthly is free. So they've worked it out for people who might want the education but struggle a little bit with the finances. So if you have, parents or parents' friends or people like that who you think might want to learn, that they might not struggle with paying the $275 a month, you can invite them to join to learn themselves, and then you're not having to pay the monthly. So we thought that was a really great opportunity for everybody to be able to get the education, but not have to necessarily pay the fee every month by inviting a few friends. So I'm going to show you the platform. They give you a website, so you'll be able to send this out to your friends and family to help them, so you can have your 2 and free. And then when you log into the platform, this is what it looks like, the back end. This is the learning center. So this is where you go into the classes. I just want you to see what it looks like. It's super easy to navigate here. So you come over here and scroll over the sidebar and you go to the academies to start. And so if I wanted to go through initially the cryptocurrency stuff, I would click on the DCX and go into the course. And then as you can see, they just have course by course. They have handbooks, literally bite-sized videos. It would take you 3 hours to go through just this course. So it's not like it's too many hours to get through at least all of the basics, but just take your time, make sure, take notes and you understand everything. And then once you get through all the basic classes, then you come over to the Go Live. And this is where you do more of a deeper dive. Again, you come down to the DCX and you can see the classes. Now, when we see people online teaching crypto, because I'm a part of trading groups, and the true crypto traders use what's called Discord, and they charge between $250 and $1,000 a month to be a part of their group. They don't talk about harmonics. They don't talk about Fibonacci, teaching you how to actually do it and how to read those charts. So this is high end, very high level training. When you get to this level, you can do advanced, you can do basic, you can get live analysis where they teach you the charting. And then the guy down here, Nick, is the one that has the crypto one-on-one classes. We're encouraging everybody to go through. You can even click on Nick or each instructor and go through their favorites or past sessions if you want to just kind of deep dive on each person and get more information about their training style. So that's kind of an overview of the actual courses. And again, they have every course, it's not just DCX, they have Forex, and they have tons and tons. I mean, literally, I don't think anybody could even go through all their classes, but they have a ton of training on everything that you would need or want to learn to understand this market. So then the other thing we have is our Facebook group. So like I said, we have a relationship with some guys that are high-level crypto traders. We've posted in here step 1, step 2, step 3, exactly what to go through. So like when you download this step 1 document, it looks like this. And it literally teaches you exactly what to download, exactly what class to go through, and the link to get to the class. And we take you in order exactly what to do. And then after you're done with step 1, then you download step 2. We also have videos in here for you that you can go through. And then we also have a general discussion that we're all starting to load lots of information and classes in here for you. So you're not having to search around. It's all in here in one place for you, and just being able to support you in your education of this market. Because again, Anthony's been in it for about 6 or 7 years. I've been in it for a couple of years. Kevin's been in it for a couple of years, really just deep diving, learning. And we just want to be able to support you guys in this. So that's kind of an overview of what we're doing with NAR, what we're bringing to you guys as an educational platform to help you guys start learning. And then the support group through the Facebook group and the different trainers that you'll be able to ask questions for. And then as Kevin mentioned, he and I will be adding more classes with Teresa. And just as things are evolving in the industry, you're gonna be on top of it and know exactly what to do and how to do it because of what we're gonna be bringing to you. So that's it in a nutshell. That's what we're doing. I'm gonna hand it back to you, and any questions or any other discussions that people want to have about this, Kevin and I are happy to answer your questions.
I had a question. Yeah. So this is endorsed by NAR, the IM.
So we are working in conjunction with the owners of IM, with Teresa Grobecker, who is the CEO expert blockchain person for NAR. She is the one that NAR has said, you need to figure this out and you need to bring it to our industry. It's not a NAR company. They are an agnostic company, which we felt was important because we don't want them to be company specific. We want them to be agnostic. They're just a training platform.
I see.
But Teresa's working with the owners for us to layer in a full series of classes from Teresa that are approved by NAR, obviously, but NAR is a little slow. And so Teresa's thinking it's going to take probably a year or 2 before NAR gets to the point of officially making it a certification course. But we didn't want to wait for NAR to get to that point. We want to just get on top of it now. And then whenever NAR gets to that place where they say, okay, we're going to make everybody get certified to do this, we'll already be ahead of the curve.
So I'm trying to draw the connection between Forex trading, crypto trading, and like NFT real estate transactions.
Well, NFTs fall under the guise of DCX or cryptocurrency. So DCX is digital assets. Some people call it cryptocurrency, but it actually falls under the classification of digital assets. And if you look at the classification of the way money moves, like just traditional money, we have this great video that we could send you that we got from another buddy of ours that we're working with, where he lays out all the different ways money works and layers on top of it all the digital assets that fulfill that in a digital asset class. It's a really amazing video. And so I don't want you to just think cryptocurrency, but under the umbrella of digital assets, NFTs, metaverse, DeFi, there's all sorts of categories that fall under that. And then under that umbrella also is going to come out what Kevin was talking about, where Teresa and NAR and all of these different companies are going to say, this is how you sell homes with digital assets to be SEC compliant. Because the issue is when you sell them with digital assets, it becomes a security. That's the issue. So it falls under a different category. It's almost like, think about layering the real estate industry on top of Wall Street. That's kind of what we're having to do now. And we're used to being SEC compliant because we're a publicly traded company, but our industry isn't used to that. And so now we as an industry are going to be under SEC regulatory FTC compliance when we get involved in selling with digital assets. Does that make that clear?
Well, Hal, real quick, I like to poke and provoke. So let's say somebody came with you and said, hey, I've got $25 million and I want to buy this home with crypto. I know you're going to say, I will figure it out, right? You're going to say,
no, there's a lot of facets here going on. So settlement being one of them. Are we settling on the buy side? Are we settling on the sell side? When you're doing an NFT transaction, you're also having to convert, deal with a local municipality for an NFT. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on here, which is fascinating. And I think there's all good conversations ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. Teresa's slide deck, just to give you an idea, that she's been presenting to the presidents and CEOs of a bunch of brokerage companies is like 70 slides long. So dealing with things like seasoning of wallets, good funds, the title and the local county recorder, and all aspects of this. There are a lot, Al, you're absolutely right. There are a lot of moving parts, but look for, and that's why I kind of preface this with, this is just a quick look at some aspects of where things are moving. It's absolutely not the detail that is going to be in what we're going to be rolling out. So our commitment to the real estate industry, and this is not about our brokerage, it's about the real estate industry, is we want to keep the 1.8+ million realtors at NAR out of harm's way. Yes. Because there are a bunch of companies that could care less about SEC compliance. Remember, I went through 40 of them with Teresa, and we came up with one that was compliant. So the odds are, if people are not paying attention to this, they're going to get in harm's way fairly quickly. So as related to the education platform, I can tell you that agent and her husband in Miami had a very detailed conversation because they had been in learning about crypto with that guy, which gave him a lot of credibility because the guy felt like he had somebody that got enough about digital assets and the world that he comes from that he could work. And he kept making the comment that, thank God, I've talked to like 15 agents and they all act like I'm talking like I'm a foreign alien or something, and I have no idea what I've been talking about. And so that's where things are going to change. And I agree with you, Hal, there's a lot of detail here. There's a lot of facets to it. And that's where we're launching from with this quick overview. And we're going to dive into the weeds with what Teresa is going to roll out with a number of tracks that we're also going to get into the mortgage side, the title and escrow side. All of our partners in the real estate ecosystem have to learn all of this. And I would say, our experience has been that title and escrow is further behind than some of the agents that have had people ask about it. And the mortgage industry was kind of, for now, been looking like, well, we don't do anything with that. We get our money from Wall Street. And I have a call next Tuesday with a CEO of a mortgage entity that's going to fund with digital assets, right? So that's another facet of what's coming. And guess where he's based? He's based in Miami, right? Not in Wall Street. So lots of moving parts here. I agree with you.
Yeah, I feel like the NFT settlement, tying an NFT to a real property is going to truly be, 60 to 90 days seems a little early for me, but I feel like we're going to get there. But one of the challenges that I see with it though, is that there's no, just because you think about how many MLSs there are in the country, how many counties there are, how many recording agencies, because that's where it comes again when you're talking NFTs, right? It's like if you're going to transact in crypto for an NFT that's tied to a real property, obviously crypto is incredibly volatile, and so there's tying that, like where do you tie the value and when do you record the value, and then that's one layer, and then you have to get to the NFT actually recording for the transfer of the ownership from seller to buyer. I mean, there's just a lot, but I think it's great. I think it's good.
Yeah.
Are you guys, so this IM Academy, is this like an MLM kind of thing?
I mean, it's an education platform.
Okay.
In terms of what they do, they've been around for 5+ years. They've got 200,000 or 300,000 users. But I want to tie down to something, Al, before we get off of it. I probably, and I apologize, wasn't clear. I was talking about the Fannie listing thing with the appraisals coming out in the next 60 to 90 days. Fannie's ready to roll that out. I would agree with you 100%. The NFT stuff, there have been a whole total of 1 NFT real estate transaction that was done in Florida. There's another one coming up in Tampa. So that's not coming up in volume, right? They're just getting started. So I agree with you.
Discussion to have, because
no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the mortgage side, let's say somebody wants to use a down payment with digital assets. Teresa has worked with the heads of most of the biggest title companies and written a protocol for how to season a wallet with digital assets in it. And to her surprise, it took her about a week to get them to work through it and approve it. She's also written and worked with 2 vendors for locking the price of Bitcoin or another digital asset where the risk and the volatility is actually stopped. So a lot of the parts behind the scenes are already done. Now it's going to be a matter of when all the pieces line up together, but it's definitely coming in 2022 that we're going to see more and more of this.
Yeah. And I think the other piece is the Federal Reserve is moving to a central digital currency. I mean, we're going to see the dollar, the fiat dollar is going to be gone. So digital currencies are real. So it's interesting to see this glimmer. So thank you. I appreciate you taking my questions. So
it's my pleasure.
And I think there's a couple, and again, Sheila and Kevin are definitely the masters of this. So, I mean, as you learn like day trading and things like that, I mean, when we're talking like the US currency, I mean, inflation. So like, the US currency and crypto basically function separately. So if the dollar is inflating, which it absolutely is, crypto is just a different world. And I guess the one, as far as poke and provoke for you guys, and the reason why I'm kind of bringing this to the table is, and I said this before, even before crypto, like who doesn't care about interest rates? It's like out of a panel here, who thinks the market's going to shift in some way, shape, or form in the next 1, 2, 3, or 4 years? Okay, so if interest rates go up to 8%, who doesn't care about interest rates? People with cash,
right?
People with crypto. And so it's about giving you guys ammunition to like learn this stuff, to where what's the exchange of wealth that has happened in the past 5 years from Wall Street to these 18-year-old kids that live in Hawaii on the golf course. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely. I can tell you this, there was a panel at an event like in the last 6 weeks where there was a 30-something that had moved a couple times, lost a cold storage device, what he had some Ethereum on it. And he announced on stage that he had finally unpacked some boxes that were marked something else. And he had 1.1 billion in Ethereum in his wallet. So as a wealth transfer, we haven't seen anything like this ever in the history. And it's just getting started. I mean, that's the opportunity here. And one final point that I'd like to make, that same couple, I was at the mastermind in January in Puerto Rico, and he walks up to me because they have demo accounts for you to practice the recommendations and things that they're talking about in IM. And he shows me the screen and he says, I just made $1,200. I said, great. So you're practicing with the demo account? And he goes, no, I just decided that, I guess he's a risk taker, right? I just decided I was going to invest $300. And in the 3 hours I've been sitting in the mastermind session, I made $1,100. I said, well, you worried about the risk? He goes, no, I just followed what the recommendation was, and I put the stop loss in. After I made the $1,100, I moved it up like they told me to, and I just closed out. And he's like, it's like making money from somebody that's an expert. Now, this isn't financial advice and recommendations, but where else in your world do you have something that you can learn where you have the opportunity to do that kind of stuff? And they do have demo accounts. You can, if you're especially risk averse, do a lot of practicing and prove to yourself that if I just follow what they're teaching me, you can start to actually get involved more and more in the digital space and do it in a safe manner where you know exactly how to be fully risk on and protect what you're doing. We don't have that in real estate. You don't have that in the stock market in most cases.
It's kind of diversification. So I've been straight day trading for the last year, and I have a buddy who kind of coached me along it. He makes 500,000 a year and he does loans as well and kills it. So that's where I'm like, dude, I want to learn that. I want to be able to diversify, learn these technical analysis. So the one thing that day traders are doing is just so, and again, if this is something people are interested in, great. If not, learn about it still. But traders, even just day traders, are looking at crypto because how the volatility is day trading, or traders love volatility. And like the normal traders are looking at these technical analysis. And when you actually learn it, like, I'm like, okay, I can see these trends and that. If I look at a crypto trend, it just screams at you. Like it's so volatile that you're like, oh, that is a setup. Like, and again, there's risk wherever you do. I mean, there's risk when you guys all got into real estate, there's risk there. Same thing with trading, but it's also at your guys' own expense and learning. So go ahead.
This is the other thing people don't understand, that they teach a series of classes in here. It's not about just trading. They teach a series of farming and staking where you can make 7 to 10% interest on your money being parked in one of these projects that you're not making in your bank, but you can make money off your interest and not even do trading in this. And you also can, you can do staking, farming, just holding your money in USDC or USDT coins in your wallet. You can do swing trading, which is more similar to day trading, where you buy low, sell high on a daily basis. You can do leverage trading or futures trading, which is high dollar. Those are the big boys. Do that kind of stuff if you really get good at the technical analysis. But so it's for everybody. And Anthony, one of my best friends, he's going to be the head guy leading this for our group. He has made a ton of money. He's a full-blown futures trader, but he has 7,000 people in one group following him, and it's called The Plan. He teaches how to make 1 to 2% per day on your money, slow and steady, very, very risk management driven, so that people aren't just throwing a bunch of money at Sheepcoin or something like that, Doge, and then losing their money. Because none of us want you to lose your money. What we want to teach you to do is have another way to prepare to keep your money by keeping your job, by learning how to sell homes, as well as learn how to take a little bit of that money and store it and build wealth in a way with the future of this, of what's coming. So, I'm almost bankless. So I've moved all of my wealth, except what I use to run my company every month, out of the bank and into digital assets. I have storage wallets, I have ledgers, I have all sorts of stuff where I am now in control of my financial future, versus worrying about having a bank run and the bank shutting and me not being able to get my money, which is what just happened in Ukraine. Is the bank shut, bank run, nobody could get their money, they were out of money, and then people were going around, and guess what people got? Bitcoin, Ethereum. Those were the people doing good, the people who had digital assets. So it's not something that's going away, and it's something that's really important for each of you to be involved at whatever level you want to be involved at, even if it's at the base level of going through this education, to be able to actually sell homes when you meet somebody that wants to do that. Because if you look at this younger generation, we're in, is it the next 2 to 3 years? I think they said the biggest boom in the millennials, this next generation, is going to hit 30. So there's a huge amount of people coming up to that 30 age range where they're going to be wanting to buy houses. And they're all into this. The guy who runs the biggest trading group in the world is 30. And he makes 10 million to 50 million per trade. Per trade. He's 30. He bought, I was watching the group because I'm in their group. He bought a Bentley one week. The next week he bought a Rolls, and then he bought a $6 million house in Jersey. I'm like, dang, this guy. But that's the thing you have to realize is this younger generation, anybody below, I would say 50 or 45, who grew up with computers and who grew up with technology and who have very, deep into gaming and stuff like that. This is their world. And probably any of you on here who are younger realize exactly what I'm saying. You guys are all into this digital technology stuff. It's the older ones of us who have to catch up with you and have to understand how to handle this, because we don't want to be left behind. Think about this. Remember when the iPhone came out and you saw all these young people jumping on the iPhone, and you saw the old people still with their Blackberries or their flip phones? Do you remember that? And then eventually over 5 or 10 years, then you started seeing grandma get an iPhone. It's no different, but now it's with money versus just phones.
And again, it's like, just so you guys all know, I actually am an old soul, like old school, like I really am. It's hard for like me to wrap my head. The fact is, like, and again, we've talked about it before, if you've been with our group, when you have understanding and then you have misunderstanding, you don't understand it, there's a gap, and that gap causes cognitive dissonance, which is usually filled with anger or frustration. Your brain has to fill it with something. And so, like, it's one of those things, like, as the world and technology changes, like, there are other ways to make money. Like, and it sounds really silly. Are you okay? Yeah. So sorry, I asked Nisa, like, because Instagram pinged Nisa and was like, hey, can you sign up for this? Like, to where we'll pay you just for the reels you post. And she asked me about it. I was like, that sounds weird. I don't know. So, like, she did it. And, like, she posted a reel, like the normal real estate reel, and what, $50?
It's like $66. Let's not get crazy here.
Who cares? It's like the fact is, like, the ways of making money. And again, real estate agents, sorry, y'all are real estate agents, y'all are on here, like, they are the most stubborn old school souls to where I must sell a home to get paid. Yeah, but then EXP came along and was kind of like, hey, whoa, there's different ways of doing this. And so it just, the whole landscape has changed. Like, I'm not kidding. The reason why I said Hawaii is one of the $1.4 million golf course homes was owned by like a 28-year-old who, if you were ever in Eva Beach, the one that drove, what was it, the Lamborghini around Eva Beach, if you saw the Lamborghini in Eva Beach, that was from cryptocurrency. And it's just, there's different ways of making money today, to where, like, all this is saying, hey, like, you need to learn about it. Because again, if the market shifts and someone comes, and again, when the market shifts and homes go from selling, 40,000 homes a year to 20,000 homes a year, and someone comes to you and said, I need to buy a home and I've only got crypto, like, you got to know how to do it. Like, and this is where it's just, you have to know how to do it to, like, support your family. So it's like, you have to learn these things. And then again, because, like, Anthony, who's going to be leading this, he built up one of the number one team in New Orleans, right? And when Sheila said, so just so you know, and again, I'm sorry if I poke Sheila, Kevin, I'm a transparent soul. Like, these people make freaking money, dude. Like, and so when she says Anthony made a lot of money, like, are we allowed to say roughly how much he made? And I'm just guessing. Like,
he took $400 and turned it into 4 million.
Okay. You know what I mean? Like, and so, like, it's a different spectrum. Like, in real estate, we're like, oh yeah, dude, 6 figures, no, dude, there's people out there on 8 figures, 9 figures. And this is the path of getting there. And again, to go into, like, personal development, like, don't let naysayers say you can't. You know what I mean? Somebody threw $5,000 in Shiba Inu like 5-6 years ago. They threw $8,000 in Shiba Inu 5 years ago, and it turned into $5 billion.
Yep.
So, you know what I mean? Like, just all this is learn, hey, there's crypto, Kevin and Sheila are rolling this out. If you guys are interested in stuff, they have some other masterminds and classes that we can share. Yeah.
And we're actually going to have to go. We have another meeting we got to jump on. But if you guys are interested, just let Travis know, because he's going to have a link from his join link that he'll be able to share with you guys to get you signed up and get you into all the groups. And again, just keep an eye out for Kevin and I. Will be rolling more trainings out. We're going to start rolling trainings out for actually buying. Another guy in our group made $11 million. So we're going to show you what people have been doing to actually make money besides just the education piece, because we want to help you with every aspect of it. But we appreciate you. Thank you so much for having us here
All right,
today.
thank you.
Appreciate it. Bye, you
Thanks,
guys.
Sheila. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks for your time.
All right,
Thank you so much, guys.
Woo! So yeah, they presented to Puerto Rico and just went on with it. And like, again, like when they talked about like Michael Jordan selling his home for like $40 million in crypto, it was like that was done illegally. And the SEC and NAR are actually looking into these things. So it's important to learn. This was the first that I kind of got to see of the platform and any of that stuff as well. That's why I know crypto is important. The world's changing. And so like, I want our group, we're disruptors. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing what we're doing. Okay, cool. So Tay used IM Academy a few years back for Forex. So we have a third-party validation. Real quick, do you guys have any questions? Pume, we have announcements for you guys. It's 2 o'clock, so we are at the top of the hour. I just want to make sure you guys are informed with what's coming down.
Marina, I saw your question, so we'll try and get that answered later on. But if you guys don't have any questions, I do have a couple of announcements. Again, thank you so much for popping in. If you guys saw a little differently signing into our meetings, our monthly meeting, you are going to have a registration link, and this is also for your benefit for those of you who are inviting other non-collab agents. We want you to be able to capture this information. We want you to be able to nurture these agents so that you can add value and then bring them into the collab. So this is for the registration part of the new Zoom links are for your benefit as well. Let's see, just to kind of roll through it. Announcement next week, Tuesdays, we are kicking off our collab agent trainings. So we actually condensed our training from 15 weeks down to 13 weeks. We're super duper excited about that. It's going to be starting Tuesday, April 5th, and it's going to be every Tuesday and Friday from 10 a.m. Hawaii time to 11 a.m. Hawaii time. I promise I will be better on the conversion times, but you can count on that. Tuesdays and Fridays from 10 a.m. Hawaii to 11 a.m. Hawaii. It's going to be the same link. And at the end of the day, I will be pushing out the recording link so that for all of those who have missed it, they'll be able to catch up and watch the recording. Number two, we have a new recordings library available. So I am going to drop the link in the Slack channel, but it's basically a whole new Trello board that has all of the links to all of our previous recordings, so that's available for you to watch at your leisure. Lastly, we do have a new Slack channel. It's called our new agent onboarding channel. So this is for the agents who are in the process of either right before they onboard or in the process of onboarding with EXP. We're going to plug you guys in there, and any questions that you might have during the process, please go ahead and type it into that Slack channel. So we know that onboarding with EXP can be tricky, and we just want to be able to offer support to you in real time. So all of our leadership team is on there. So Travis is on there, Nisa, Marina, Taylor, and Kazi and myself are also on there. So anytime you guys have questions, go ahead and put it in there and we'll help you out and we'll get that answered. Again, this is not just for the benefit of the onboarding agent, but it's also for the benefit of the sponsor. I know it can be a little tricky, and we just want to make sure that you guys are there, or that we are there for you. So if you guys have any questions about that, please feel free to let me know, and I'm gonna drop all of these announcements in the Slack channel for you guys as well.
Cool. Taylor, did we have an announcement today or not today?
Yeah, let me share my screen. Let me see.
Stay on, everybody, watch this.
Oh, it's not a video. I'm not quite done,
That's okay.
but Collab is getting a refresh and a rebrand. It's been about 2 years, right? Since Collab was founded, I think last March. And so a lot of us have been coming to Collab, building up Collab, and we're super, super excited about the future of Collab. And so the leadership team and I have been kind of strategizing and planning this rebrand and kind of a step towards the next level of what we see Collab becoming. And of course, we're global. Of course, we're expanding into many different markets, but we're also just elevating how we do real estate digitally, of course. So just like this training, we're bringing new and fresh ideas. And so we want that to kind of depict that, I guess, in terms of our branding. And we want people to know that when they look at our stuff and get a feel for our network and all that stuff. So new Collab branding is getting rolled out. New marketing materials are being worked on. And so you guys will start to see all of that stuff dropping in the next few weeks or so. So if you have questions on that, let me know. If you have questions on how to brand yourself within Collab, that's my jam too. So yeah, super exciting stuff.
Woohoo! Looks freaking fire. Theme is like space, rockets,
Space vibes.
space
Yeah.
vibes. So what's that? To the moon.
To the moon.
To
Yeah.
the moon. All right. And then also we're going to be leading like a Rocket Talks series. You know, TED Talks don't have nothing on Rocket Talks. So we're Rocket Talks. So if there's a topic or something that you all are like passionate about, and would love to share, you know, a 15 to 20 minute like presentation, speech, talk, or whatever, ping Pume. We'd love to get you guys in the slot for being able to share. It's great for leadership, growing yourself. We're going to be kicking it off kind of alongside of the 13 weeks to success, and kind of just shaking stuff up. So Taylor, do you have something else? Oh, okay. And then again, the crypto stuff, it's something you got to learn about. If anyone is interested in learning more about it, like I'm not quite sure the platform and all of that, but she can come on and do some like different different training that shows a little bit more in depth on some of the strategies and stuff. If you guys are interested in that, ping me or DM me or Slack me, and we'll go from there.
Good question. Is it still illegal to buy crypto in Hawaii? Have they opened it up?
So I think it wasn't that it was Coinbase. So Coinbase was illegal or whatever.
So how do Hawaii residents buy right now?
So, I mean, off the record, they use.
Hold on. Let me stop recording.
Cool. Thanks, everybody.